Hello and thank you for tuning in to the AAU TV Mid-Week news, coming to you from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities in Accra, Ghana. My name is Maame Ekua Otuakoa Nyame. With me are
Jemima, Deladem, Dotsey.
And I am Agyemang, Okyere, Darko.
And now the headlines on higher education. Layoffs loom as flagship universities cut more courses. And also government launches climate change initiative for students.
And in our health news, physical activity may protect your brain as you age. And again, ultrasound scan can diagnose prostate cancer.
We're glad you made time to join us on AAU TV News. Stay with us for more news until the short break. We'll be right back.
Welcome back from the break, and now the news in detail. Kenya's University of Nairobi has announced a fresh plan to trim courses a year after it scrapped more than 250 units, signaling the layoffs of lecturers amid a cash crunch at the institution.
The moves to trim more courses, signaling the layoff of lecturers, are aimed at easing the university's cash flow hitches that have seen its default on statutory deductions and payment of insurance premiums for its staff, with debts surpassing 34 billion Kenyan shillings. We were offering more than 500 courses, but we cut these to 300, but we can still push them down. Senate is engaging to see which ones we continue to downsize so that we focus where we have a competitive edge as a university, Professor Kaima told Business Daily. The sharp reduction in courses could see the university drop some lecturers and non-teaching staff from its payroll. The Vice-Chancellor mentioned that the university's decision to take drastic actions to cut costs is to ensure that the University of Nairobi is not removed from the map of Kenya. Professor Kaima revealed that the university will only hire staff for critical departments where current staff cannot be retained to replace those who retire or exit on health grounds. Plans to further trim courses come less than a year after the University of Nairobi scrapped 255 courses, scaling down the number from 579. The institution said that the scrapped courses admitted fewer students, while some did not have applicants, despite the university allocating funds for the courses. Professor Kaima added that, despite last year's move to reduce the number of courses, the University of Nairobi reduced the courses through the closure of 8 colleges, collapsing of faculty functions from 35 to 11, abolishing offices, merging functions, and creating new posts in a move to eliminate duplication. Further, all positions of principals and their deputies were terminated and roles reorganized under new positions of executive and associated deans.
Well, there we have it. The University of Nairobi cuts off more courses and has started laying off lecturers. We'll delve into that, but first, let's highlight the challenges faced by the University of Nairobi. Agyemang, I'll start with you.
Well, I mean, this is very unfortunate happening at the University of Nairobi. Just finding out the need to expand education. Now, we're looking at how to create accessibility for people to enroll in any program they want to enroll in.
Exactly.
Because we have diverse people in Africa, diverse opinions, diverse interests. So people should be able to study what they want to study and be what they want to be. But here we find ourselves in a situation whereby the university has to do something they are not really supposed to do. Universities are supposed to grow in courses, expand in all the core courses. Not really, because the University of Nairobi isn't a science, technology, engineering, mathematics institution. It is a liberal arts combined with technology university. So if it now has to skew its focus to let's say to curb some financial inconveniences, that is quite unfortunate. What happens to people who want to pursue those programs that are being slashed away? Because
But don't you think it is quite laudable, considering the fact that the article indicated that some of these courses that has been cut off had very low enrollment and some even had non-enrollment? Don't you think it is quite laudable? Because why must you commit funds to a course that is really not yielding fruit?
Well, it's an avid decision to make. I mean, to consider the cost-benefit analysis in this case, the university spending so much on programs which are not having or are bearing poor returns on investment. It is I mean, viable that you take the decision, but I'm lamenting the fact that, I mean, that is not what it's not supposed to happen this way.
Ideally,
I mean, it shouldn't be this way. It should have been the other way, where students are enrolling in every program. I want to ask these questions. So primarily, what has been the long term, or let's say the trend analysis on enrollment on these courses or these programs that today the University of Rwanda, Nairobi is looking forward to slash out because they are realizing a decreasing rate of enrollment? What has been the initial enrollment figures that led to this decision suddenly? So from the beginning, when programs are being designed by universities, they have to assess themselves and realize, okay, we have the right resources, the infrastructure, the human resources to man these courses or these programs. Then we go for accreditation, and then the accreditation unit will come and assess us from their external point of view and weigh the pros and cons and say, okay, you can run this program. And then eventually you will that you are not able to continue running that program because you think that enrollment is low. It means that perhaps in the beginning, due diligence, or let's say proper quality checks on this program to see its sustainability and also return on investment was quite on the lighter side. I just want to throw this light in there that before you want to see the future or something, you should have done your trend analysis to understand that the future of this program is poor. So therefore, we shouldn't even take it to the next level anyway.
Okay, Jemima.
Yeah, first of all, I want to talk about one major challenge about the university, which is their finances. You know, I stand to be corrected, but there are no institutions that does not run on funds. Every institution runs on the funds that they get. And you know, first of all, the university needs to pay over 4,000 lecturers, which includes their pay as you earn, their National Hospital Insurance Fund, and then their National Social Security Fund, and that is a lot of money. And second of all, too, the institution would also make available teaching and learning materials, which they do not have enough funds to do that at the moment. I would say that in the last quarter of 2020, some lecturers of the university even went on strike due to non-payment of clinical allowance. I believe that if the institution should fall on other avenues to generate income, I think it will help them.
Okay, you know, let's talk about some solutions the university can apply to, address their present predicament.
You know, undoubtedly, funding is the biggest challenge that higher education institutions in Africa face. Beyond fund, I don't know what else is the biggest problem, but the biggest hurdle is how to fund these institutions. And that is a clear example you find in the University of Nairobi, where because of the lack of funds, or let's say inadequate funding to help sustain some programs, you would have to now swallow your own eggs. Like what they're doing, their own eggs are being swallowed.
But I still think
to save room for others.
I still think it's the right thing to do. Because, I mean, sorry, but there are a lot of courses that have been offered in our various universities that once you enroll in that course, you graduate and you come out and no organization wants to employ you.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if they are taking out these courses, for me, I think it's laudable.
Yeah, you know.
However, laying off lecturers is my problem. Because, when it comes to Africa, in terms of our lecturer to student ratio, the figures are very huge. So perhaps these lecturers can be kept and they would help reduce the student to lecturer ratio. But then if they are cutting down some of these, in quotes, irrelevant courses, then perhaps I think it's the right thing to be done.
I think we should understand where this is coming from. You know, what has, let's say, what has really triggered this action
It's finances.
Finances, not irrelevant or not the irrelevance of the program.
You know, I want to highlight that much as they are cutting off these courses, they are still hiring more lecturers to support in STEM. Why? Because they are relevant.
No problem. No, STEM is not, well, I wouldn't say I would take STEM over liberal arts, because when you have more STEM people who are creating tech companies, you need lawyers and other admin people to also be drafting and managing the contracts. So everybody, we need each other hand in hand. But I want us to appreciate the reason or the rationale that has exacerbated the whole matter. It is because they are lacking in funds. And for that reason, there ought to be a takeaway of some programs which are having poor returns on investment. Not because those programs are irrelevant, not because they are not market worthy. It's because these programs have poor enrollment. And I'm saying that at least there's some enrollment. Have you done a proper, thorough trend analysis? Let's say 5-year, 10-year, to see that since the day we began this program, we canceled this program, we're advertising. What has been the average enrollment rate ratio to this point? That informs us that we should cut it off. Because times change. Maybe you're not advertising very well. How are you advertising very well for that particular program? And why is that program the one you chose because it has low enrollment? Is that the reason why you squash a program?
You know, but Agyemang, I am thinking since our finances is the major problem here, we should rather talk about ways to address the financial challenges.
Exactly. So I think get into that. If it's finances that we are looking at here and not program relevance, I was just trying to rebut what you were saying, that it is not about program relevance.
I was equally rebutting what you said. I wasn't too happy about it.
It is not program relevance. It is because we don't have funds. So if the University of Nairobi hasn't got funds, then it's understandable. Then perhaps we take steps to raise funds to curb the situation and not lay lecturers off and close programs. So these students, what do? So I think that it is about time that African universities develop innovative ways of raising funds or solving for funds. That is what we've not been able to do very well.
Can we throw more light on those innovative ways?
Well, you know what? Grant writing. Well, writing, proposal writers, writing proposals, and telling your story and why you need funds to support a university like the University of Nairobi should be able to win some grants to that effect. Not to take such a drastic action because the aftermath is huge. What happens to students who are already in it? What happens to people who also want to enroll in such programs? I don't think that closing these programs, or let's say slashing them, was to an extent the appropriate decision to be made. I think that it was get the funds and then keep the university growing, and this may change.
Jemima.
For me, I would say it's obvious universities make money, or let me say get money from the tuition fees that students pay. However, I feel there are other avenues that could be explored. First, I'll talk about alumni groups. An institution that has a strong alumni force, does not struggle. Some of these alumni are well-to-do, and they would, gladly help their alma maters to get to that peak where they don't have issues of finances worrying them. Harvard University, for instance, has benefited extensively exploring such an avenue. And I also talk about endowment fund. So with this idea, it is to generate money from donations and fundraising. Then the money is invested to generate profit. I don't know if it's feasible currently resolving the University of Nairobi's case. But going forward, I feel it is relevant. Is a relevant concept employed by the University of Harvard. For instance, according to a research, 39% of their operating revenue came from their endowment in 2021. So I think it will be a good one.
Thank you very much for that. And moving on, Egypt's Minister of Environment, Yasmin Fouad, and Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, Khaled Abdel Ghaffar, launched the Climate Pioneers Initiative on Saturday to spread awareness on climate change among university students.
The minister in charge of environment in Egypt, Yasmin Fouad, stressed the importance of cooperation with the Higher Education Ministry to qualify university students to understand climate change issues. noting that this program comes within the framework of Egypt's hosting of the UN's Conference of Parties on Climate Change, COP27, in November. We are working to change the traditional view of the environment among young people, not only in issues related to air, water, and noise pollution, but also seek to integrate the concepts of the entire global environment, including climate change, biodiversity, desertification, and other topics, Fuad said. She further added that the initiative aims to build national capacities to synergize with the efforts of the state in dealing with the issue of climate change by building the capacities of the university youths with scientific knowledge, expanding the climate knowledge base, and linking the initiative supporters and graduates with graduation projects and research and applied projects. The initiative's program include topics such as the concept of climate change, the development of the strategy for climate change, how to confront climate change, the national strategy for climate change, the main axis of adaptation and mitigation, and the basic pillars for achieving them, the required areas of research and development, and the priorities of facing climate change in Egypt and the world. On his part, Abdul Ghaffar emphasized the continuous and permanent cooperation and coordination with the Environment Ministry in all initiatives and programs for hosting the COP27, praising the efforts made by the work team in the two ministries, especially the Center of Excellence of the National Research Center, to ensure the success of the conference.
Well, there we have it. Government launches climate change initiative for students, but let's discuss ways to inculcate sustainable development studies in our curricula, Jemima.
Okay, first of all, I'll say since our high school days, we have learnt about the concepts of development just to get the grades in our, for instance, social studies. However, one way we can bring sustainable development studies into reality is that our curricular activities should yield results. For instance, SDG 9 focuses on industry, innovation, and infrastructure. You know, there are students who I believe can make bikes that are solar powered without using petrol, which produces greenhouse effect. So all in all, in as much as the theory is important, let's invest in the practical approach that the students and society will benefit from.
Okay, Agyemang.
I think it is a very important action to take that students in higher education institutions are imbibed and are indulged in day-to-day understanding of why we should care for our environments, because we are also taken away from a different generation which is gradually facing away, and they have contributed their part to sustainability.
Exactly.
Whatever we find today is what they have done, and we also owe the responsibility to also do something much better for posterity. And if we don't inculcate this into our studies, I mean, imagine a generation which is full of vicious people, anxious people, self-centered, looking forward to always loot and make the best out of the environment and not care about how to keep it in good shape for the next generation. The whole world will turn to dystopia, because now everybody will take what they want to take and leave the place unfollowed. So you will see the damage it will cause to ourselves and in this world which is deteriorating gradually because of climate change. So if we conscientize people to at least follow what they want to follow, but at least have a part of your brain for environmental sustainability studies, it is because we want to leave the place good for the future generation as well.
Okay. Now, what is at stake with our environmental sustainable development studies?
I would say when we don't take environmental sustainable development studies seriously, a time will come where we would literally, have to buy bottled clean air. Because of air pollution, our airs will be polluted, disease will be on the rise, and that would also bring about mortality rate, which is death. And we will be engulfed with, we'll be engulfed by problems we couldn't address. So at this point, only the strong, or let me say the well-to-do, will be able to survive such an era.
Okay, Agyemang.
Yeah, they say when the last tree dies, the last man dies.
Yeah.
We need tree to make wood, make furniture, and a whole lot of things. And if we gave everybody the chance to go to the forest and start cutting trees, you will know that every human being in the world or in Africa or wherever is a chainsaw operator, because they will go and cut trees to make money. Any avenue anybody has to make money, they will. Like in Ghana, particularly, we're faced with the menace of Galamsey. We fought Galamsey over many years, and still Galamsey is just laughing at us because we seem to be on a wild goose chase. Go to other countries, and then things are being done haphazardly. Look at sanitation. Look at our healthcare. And if we keep deteriorating our environment, what will be the what kind of picture are we painting for the future? You know, we say we want a world which is full of peace and security, harmony. With this lifestyle, without some affinity towards sustainability, it is just dystopia. Yeah. A world full of chaos. Absolutely.
Well, when the last tree dies, the last man dies. I think that day speaks for itself. Now, health news is up next.
In our health news, new research shows that physical activity could help protect your cognitive ability as you age, and it doesn't have to be an intense exercise to make an impact. We all know we should exercise and eat healthy, but doing that isn't just good for maintaining your figure as you age. New research shows that the physical activity could help protect your cognitive abilities as you age, and it doesn't have to be intense exercise to make an impact. This findings isn't saying if you are older, you need to go out there and start running marathons, said Marisa Cognat, lead author of the study. This is saying if you get more steps, if you are moving around your environment a little bit more, that can be helpful to your brain health and keep you more independent as you age. This study followed 51 adults, tracking their physical activity and fitness measurement. The participants performed tests specifically designed to measure cognitive functioning and underwent magnetic resonance imaging, MRIs, to assess brain. They also wore a device that measured the intensity of the wearer's physical activity, number of steps taken, and distance covered. The researchers assessed fitness through a 6-minute walking test, during which participants walked as quickly as they could to cover most distance possible within the time limit. We've always been told it is good to exercise, but I think this is some evidence that exercise can actually change your brain, and that impacts the way you are able to function in your daily life. The brain is made up of a bunch of distinct networks. Those networks are in constant communication, sending information to each other. But different parts of the brain are active at different times. The network that is active when the body is at rest, for example, flips off when the person starts trying to complete a task. While one of these networks is active, the other should be shut off. If it is not, that is a sign that a person's brain isn't functioning as well as it should be. These networks are the key to being able to perform basic tasks in daily life, such as remembering important information and exhibiting self-control. But as people age, these tasks often become more difficult. That was an interesting story right there, but I would want us to discuss the relationship between physical activities and the brain. Agyemang.
So interestingly, the more that we exercise our body, we have to understand where this all is operated from. That the movement you make with your hand or your arm or your leg, it's been inspired or been controlled by your brain. Okay. So your brain has a very strong relationship with the movements you make. So for example, if you keep doing that, keep blood flowing from parts of your body, it passes through your brain and then flows back to these areas, which carries the task that the brain intends to do. So if I want to do this, it is the brain which is saying channel blood flow to the right arm to go erect like this, and then backwards. Now, we feed the brain with blood flow, increased blood flow, that in a way eventually gives the brain that activeness, sharp thinking, and then retentive memory. And you know, there's this saying that we used to, we used to say, well, do that. I think it's still Avid that says that all work and all play makes Jack a dull boy. Yeah, because if you don't exercise your body to some extent, you leave your brain with no blood support, so blood wouldn't flow to your brain because it's now not trying to help the body move in other parts of the body to sweat, and that brings that kind of boredom to you, affects your brain's cognitive ability. Okay. And let me just add this one: aging decline. Yes. You know, some people have managed to exercise so well that, you know, they are 45-year-old, 80-year-old, but they look younger, like 30-year-olds, because they've been able to engage their brains to always get the blood, fresh blood flowing to and fro. Yes, that's true. Yeah, and that's what it's all about: keeping the body, keeping the brain active, and then keeping your body active as well. A very good relationship keeps you living very well and very, very sharp.
Okay, Maame Ekua.
Well, exercises affect the brain in many ways, and just to add up, I would say that engaging in physical activities, first of all, increases your heart rate, which in turn pumps a lot of oxygen to the brain, and the brain needs a lot of oxygen to be able to function to its maximum capacity. So that is one. And again, engaging in physical activities aids the release of hormones, which provides an excellent environment for the growth of the brain cells.
Okay, let me be on you, Maame Ekua. What happens if you don't engage your body in a physical activity? Maybe you can use yourself as an experiment.
I think I'll still throw it back to Agyemang. Since he's on the spot.
Yeah.
You know, it is so devastating what let's say the long-term effect becomes if you starve your body or your brain of that blood flow. Okay. I mean, think about it. If we're saying that the brain needs enough blood flow to help you gain that kind of sharp thinking and also retentive memory, and then it's age in, let's say, it supports in age decline and helps you stay active and not dull. Yeah. I mean, turning this all to the opposite side means that you're going to starve your brain of blood, making you feel dull, and eventually you can even go weak because, I mean, activeness is about strength and agility. So if you starved all these exercises, then your body now grows to become lean and weak, and your brain becomes very, let's say, very porous. Porous on the sense that it can really water can pass through, but I mean porous that you can't retain anything, and you're dull to acquire knowledge, to also retentive memory. So it's important that we don't even think about trying to what happens. I mean, don't even go there. It's huge.
You know, referring to my earlier submission where I mentioned that not engaging in physical activities, engaging in physical activities increases your heart rate, which pumps oxygen to the brain. Now, failure to engage in exercises or physical activities can cause heart diseases, even for those who do not stand any risk of having that. It also increases your likelihood of developing other heart disease factors such as obesity, risk factors such as obesity, there's high blood pressure, there's high blood cholesterol. It even increases your chances or your risk of getting type 2 diabetes, among others.
All right, that's interesting. Moving on, an ultrasound scan can be used to detect cases of prostate cancer, according to a new study. Researchers have found that a new type of ultrasound scan can diagnose most prostate cancer cases with good accuracy in a clinical trial involving 370 men. The ultrasound scans missed only 4.3% more clinically important prostate cancer cases, cancer that should be treated rather than monitored, compared to magnetic resonance imaging (MRI) scans currently used to detect prostate cancer. Professor Hashim Ahmed said prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer in the UK. 1 in 6 men will be diagnosed with the disease in their lifetimes, and that figure is expected to rise. MRI scans are one of the tests we use to diagnose prostate cancer. Although effective, these scans are expensive, take up to 40 minutes to perform, and are not easily available to all. Also, there are some patients who are unable to have MRI scans, such as those with hip replacement or gastrophobia fears. As cancer waiting lists build as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, there is a real need to find more efficient and cheaper tests to diagnose prostate cancer. Prostate cancer is the most common cancer in men in the UK, with around 52,300 new cases diagnosed each year. It develops when cells in the prostate grow in an uncontrollable way. Prostate cancer develops slowly, and symptoms such as blood in the urine do not appear until the disease has developed. It usually affects men over 50 and often men with a family history of the disease. Black men are disproportionately impacted by the disease, and death from prostate cancer have now overtaken those from breast cancer. One of the main methods to diagnose prostate cancer is a special type of magnetic resonance imaging (MRI) scan called multi-panoramic MRI scan, which helps doctors to see if there is any cancer inside the prostate and how quickly the cancer is likely to grow. So that is an educative story right there on prostate cancer. But Agyemang, let's discuss some of the causes.
You know, strangely, scientists have not been able to come out clear on some of the very distinguished factors that lead to prostate cancer.
Okay.
We can't really tell,
Yeah.
but there are some underlying risk factors that have over time proved themselves very, very, very possible, or
Exactly.
say very distinguished.
Okay.
And some of them are the fact that over time, people who have been diagnosed of prostate cancer are more of African American men beyond the ages of 50.
Yeah.
And people who have, let's say, history or of prostate cancer in their family. So
families.
hereditary, it can also lead to that. And having a family history, let's say breast cancer as well, any cancerous disease in the family means that there's a possible chance of you getting prostate cancer. But I mean, I'm not happy to just disappoint you on this note that we don't have a cause. I mean, people out there are looking for the cause. There's no cause actually. But the issue is there are some underlying risk factors that if you find yourself in like a normal African American, or let's say basically an African, you are having a risk factor of getting prostate cancer.
Yeah. Well, another risk factor is the age factor.
Yeah.
Where so recently, I think in 2019, a study was published, and the statistics are actually shocking. It says 30% of men who are 50 and over already have prostate cancer, and about 80% of men who are 70 years old have been diagnosed of prostate cancer. So age, I think is very, very crucial when it comes to prostate cancer. I also have something here that talks about lack of physical activity. So men who do not engage in regular physical activity, sometimes it sort of increases your risk of getting prostate cancer. And finally, I have weight. So it says weight has been shown to affect your risk of prostate cancer. Those with a higher body mass index are more at risk of developing aggressive prostate cancer than those who aren't. So that is what I have.
All right, interesting. Can we also talk about some symptoms of the prostate cancer?
Well, you know, let me add a couple of points to what Lydia said earlier about this, the factors that she mentioned. Also, apart from high-fat diet, is alcohol and sedentary lifestyle. So if you're that kind of party type, you get home very late, you sleep very late, you want to break the dawn till dark, till it's dawn before you sleep. That kind of lifestyle, over time you may be at risk of experiencing some symptoms of prostate cancer. And then much of it all, this is much more cognitive than the other ones we mentioned.
Okay.
You know, it's for people who are married already. If you're married, you have your wife, and this is from one medical practitioner who works at Medimosis. I want to just paraphrase what he said, that if your wife constantly disrespects you, stresses you, and makes life so boring for you, you also are at risk of developing prostate cancer.
Oh wow!
Ask me why?
Disrespecting.
Oh yes.
Stressing.
Yes.
And making life boring for you.
In fact, she depresses your life.
Then I think the statistics is not really doing justice to the number of men who have prostate cancer.
In fact, no, the causes are there are married of them. Lots of them.
No, because I mean a lot of married men are stressed. a lot of married men are stressed.
Yeah, so
it could,
a lot of married men
could
too
be stress.
are-
It could be stress from the office, stress from your
home.
children, from your wife, from your friends.
You know, this kind of stress isn't just any kind of stress.
The one that's coming from your wife.
that's
Yes,
coming
you
from
have
his
to
wife.
understand that the prostate,
Agyemang.
the prostate is that area of the body in the male reproductive system.
Okay.
Not just anywhere, not your kidney. Prostate. And prostates are it contributes a role to your ejaculation and your sexual life.
Yeah.
So prostate cancer on the wholesome means that you are losing your sexual freedom.
Yeah.
Well,
So as a man, if you have your sexual freedom, you enjoy life. If you lose it, you've lost it. That's what I'm going to say about that though. So
Okay.
if your wife, whom is supposed to be your prime sexual libido, so you see your wife, you must develop some sort of pleasure
for her.
to enjoy life in the sexual way. And she's your stress, your depression, your anxiety, all
Yeah.
combined. What a big package. You will lose it.
Yeah.
So
Well.
that is the point he was making, that even though it is quite subliminal, we should not underestimate the way women relate to men, because it also plays a role in eventually landing you in a land of prostate cancer, unfortunately.
Okay. You know, let me touch on the is it
Symptoms.
Symptoms, yes, symptoms. So I have just 3 symptoms here. I have urinary dysfunction. So most times men who have prostate cancer, you realize that when you are urinating, you have some sort of difficulty. You can also have you can feel pains when you are urinating, and for some people too, they urinate more frequently than they used to. And also I have sexual dysfunction, where men who have prostate cancer have difficulty achieving or maintaining an erection. And then also they experience pain when... Agyemang, why are you laughing?
You know, I think she's
He finds it
reading a
interesting.
verdict.
You know.
Listen, you are stressing a
No,
man.
you know,
They cannot-
this is something I'm quite interested in, because I'm not happy that our men out there are suffering from prostate cancer.
think about
I think
yourself.
I think this is the point where we educate some women on how to, you know,
To handle their men.
handle
Exactly,
their men.
exactly,
Not to stress them and all that.
It is the highest contributor.
Exactly.
I know men who don't drink, they don't do anything bad, but they end up with this issue.
Okay, so it's from their wife.
They are killing the men.
Anyway, so as the cancer progresses, new symptoms can also include bone pain and leg weaknesses. I think I'll leave the rest to Agyemang.
Okay.
Let me sum it up.
Okay.
That's
Please do.
prostate cancer is no man's desire. We don't want to get there. In fact, even though it has been estimated that it is black American or black people who mostly end up with prostate cancer, it can be delayed. Oh yeah, it can be delayed.
Yeah.
It can be facilitated or catalyzed. And I'm just saying it to my ladies, you around me.
Okay.
You are my core ambassadors. If you do the right thing, things will change.
No, so
Agyemang,
what do
interesting.
you
Pamper your
think?
men.
What do you think women can do to make the situation better?
Pamper your men.
Just a pampering.
Make them feel like kings, and they would stay healthy and prostate cancer free.
Equally, you make us feel like queens too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
if-
because
it goes hand in hand.
women suffer from some sort of cancers that men do not suffer from. So I mean, it has to be both ways. It has
Yeah,
to be both
that's
ways.
true.
Now that is all for the news, and in wrapping up, let's take a quick recap of our headlines. On higher education, layoffs loom as flagship universities cut more courses. And also government launches climate change initiative for students.
And in our health news, healthy physical activity may protect your brain as you age. And again, ultrasound scan can diagnose prostate cancer.
And I'll thank you very much for staying with the AAU TV News team. My name is Maame Ekua Otuakoa Nyame.
And I am Jemima Deladem Dotsey.
The name is Agyemang Otuakoa. We're glad you had time with us on AAU TV News and enjoy what we brought you, as we're always poised to bring you information that is going to transform you. Have a nice day. Be safe. But it's next time. Bye.